Uh, Chapter 3 is a big chapter, and it's a chapter that I would want you to pay attention to because it is a chapter written about the PTA. I think the chapter starts out kind of hitting the road and pretty quick, kind of full steam ahead with a lot of very rich information about the PTA insofar as what a PTA is, and I think that's a really good definition that will be useful for you as you complete your assignment that's due on Saturday, box 3-1. I wouldn't get too caught up in all the history that's there. I think it's good to know that we are 50 years old, which is pretty exciting as far as the first graduating class of PTAs. 50 years, pretty exciting. So PTAs have not been around as long as physical therapists. I would really emphasize that we are the only individual permitted to assist a PT in providing selective interventions. I was really happy to be part of that. Well, I was a PTA caucus rep, so I was in Washington, D.C. when that actually was adopted by the American Physical Therapy Association back in 2011. Know that PTAs are licensed and are accredited in PTA programs through CAPTE, just as Lane is an accredited PTA program through the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, or accreditation for physical therapy education. So that's important to kind of get down what CAPTE is. I think the section on 47 describing the differences in PT and PTA education is important. I mean, you could probably know that from shadowing PTs or working as aides. I really like how the author talks about clinical problem solving on the bottom of page 50. I would look at table 3-1. I wouldn't memorize it because you'll get more information about how a PTA assists in gathering data for different procedural interventions and what type of data and interventions techniques will be utilized by the PTA when providing interventions. You'll get a laminated copy of figure 3-2, so don't split hairs about that algorithm, but you need to start looking at that because you will be expected in the upcoming terms, and as we're moving closer to the end of this term, to know what interventions a PTA can perform, what interventions they can't perform, and also to be able to start problem solving, whether it's appropriate to continue working with a patient that, for example, has a significant change in status. The short answer is no, not unless the PT is involved and notified and gives the green light for you to continue. The PT normally, in that case, if there is a change of status, will jump in and see the patient at least part of the next treatment and talk to other healthcare providers involved in the patient's care if other providers are involved and make the determination whether it's appropriate for you as a PTA to continue to see that patient. The supervision of the PTA, box 3-3, is quite good. Level supervision 3-4. Don't split too much hair about that yet. We'll get back to that later. Really look at what I'm covering here in your summary that I'm providing you in this lesson builder summary. That's going to help you quite a bit. You don't get too bogged down in the reading. Reading is support, certainly the lesson builder. I wouldn't get too hung up on page 61, the payer reimbursement policies. That's something we'll talk more about later in this term. We're talking about financing. Scope of practice, I think, is quite good in the bottom of page 62. There's another algorithm on figure 3-5. I wouldn't get too hung up on that algorithm, though, but I think it's quite good. Then you have, I think, a really good algorithm in figure 3-6. And you also have a nice paragraph on the PTA team. And the continued competence, I think there's some good stuff there, but I wouldn't split too many hairs about it. And then the algorithm on figure 3-7 is something that we'll continue to look at throughout this term. So I wouldn't feel you have to memorize all that. I think that's asking way too much for you, demographics information is covered in the lesson builder, as well as information about employment. I think it's important to know in the employment section, figure 3-9, that that's looking at PTAs that are part of the APTA. Most PTAs and actually most PTs are not a member of their association, which is, I think, not a good thing. But as far as Lane graduates, most Lane graduates are actually working in skilled nursing facilities, not outpatient, and working with older adults. I can't cite exact numbers, but I can say that most graduates are working primarily with older adults and getting jobs in this skill. Although there's a lot of PTAs that are working in outpatient too that graduate from Lane. You can look at the advanced proficiency for the PTA. That is something I want you to get familiar with, and we'll revisit this box 3-7 later on. And then let's not split hairs or look at box 3-8. I think that's not necessary. And I want you to look at those case studies, though, on page 77 and 78, because those are ones that we are going to be looking at more. So, and I think they're good case studies. I think they're very good case studies. So, in short, I hope you enjoy this section, and we'll be talking more about this chapter and the role of PTA as you continue to move forward this term.